For a moment, forget everything you think you know about creatine. Forget that it's a supplement just for bodybuilders, meant only to pump up muscles. Forget the myths. Today's research and clinical practice are turning that image upside down. What if I told you that one simple, inexpensive powder could help reduce stubborn body fat, build muscle, and extinguish the flames of chronic inflammation burning in your body? And all this without a complicated routine. Listen to the effects that creatine supplementation can have on individuals over 60 years of age. And calling this discovery a revolution is no exaggeration at all. For those of you over 60, I will now ask, do you want to support your daily functioning, both physical and mental? Do you want to remain independent from the help of third parties in the next few years? Do you love playing freely with your grandchildren? Or are you thinking of finally pursuing your hobby in retirement? Or maybe you have trouble carrying your groceries and climbing stairs without getting out of breath. Today we will talk about maintaining the vitality of your mind and body so that your senior years are not associated only with spending many hours on the couch or many days in the hospital or care facility. This material is exclusively for health education and informational purposes. It does not constitute a diagnosis or individual medical consultation. In case of health concerns, please consult a doctor or other qualified healthcare professional. Decisions regarding your health should be made after a thorough analysis of your medical condition by a specialist. Today, I will present to you the scientific evidence and the path to improving your daily functioning. Don't expect to find flashy gimmicks, 5-minute tricks, or promises to turn back the clock on your birth certificate. In the next 20 minutes, we will delve into one of the most underrated yet most powerful available supplements, creatine. I will explain how creatine works at the cellular level, why it is safe for the kidneys and liver, why you should combine it with salt, and why it has the potential to change your life for the better by boosting both physical strength and mental resilience. Let's start with why creatine is so important for adults and even more so for seniors. Why are we thinking about this right now? Because this is the time when you contemplate how much life you have left and what its quality will be. The answer lies in 3 fundamental challenges faced by almost every older adult. Creatine directly impacts all of them. First, there is chronic inflammation. It is important to know that in a specific situation, inflammation is the body's natural response. This happens in the case of an infection or injury. The problem arises when it becomes chronic, when it spreads throughout the body, constantly smoldering, and its cause and source are difficult to identify. The body is confused, and the immune system is unsure how to react. This constant metabolic chaos contributes to joint pain, heart disease, impaired cognitive function, and a general feeling of exhaustion. As we age, our bodies tend to generate more and more of these inflammatory signals, while simultaneously having less energy to extinguish them, and this is where creatine enters, helping to put out that fire. The second problem is a slowing metabolism. The number of calories your body burns at rest naturally decreases. You notice that you can't eat as much as you used to without gaining weight. Your cells don't produce energy as efficiently as they did 10 years ago. Creatine, as we will discover, directly intervenes in the energy production process. The third and most important problem is sarcopenia. This is the gradual and progressive loss of muscle mass. The process of muscle loss accelerates after the age of 60. Less muscle means less strength, poorer balance, and a higher risk of falls and fractures. Simply put, sarcopenia steals your independence. Therefore, when we talk about creatine for seniors, we are talking about defense against muscle loss. We are talking about defending against the loss of quality of life while considering creatine's potential. Now let's go deeper. What exactly is creatine, and how does it work to be so effective in combating these three challenges? Creatine is a naturally occurring compound. It is primarily produced in the liver and kidneys. Creatine is mainly stored in the muscles. I firmly emphasize again that creatine is not a steroid, nor a risky, illegal, or unresearched substance. Forget this myth and the superstitions repeated by frightened mothers watching their teenagers take their first steps in the gym, or by people without knowledge of the subject who try to sow misinformation for a few views and likes. Creatine's primary role is to help produce ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. Think of ATP as the universal energy currency of every cell in your body. Literally every cell needs energy, whether it's a muscle cell, liver cell, brain cell, lung cell, or skin cell. But every cell needs this energy in the right amount and at the right time. When a cell uses ATP, it turns into ADP, or adenosine diphosphate. We can compare ADP to a discharged battery or accumulator. The job of creatine, specifically phosphocreatine, is to instantly recharge and prepare this empty energy bank for work. Phosphocreatine donates its phosphate to recharge ADP back into ATP. The more creatine you have in your muscles and brain, the faster and longer your body can produce energy for them. The most effective and best researched form is creatine monohydrate. It has been on the market for decades. It is inexpensive. And most importantly, study after study proves that it is just as good, if not better, than the more expensive, fancy forms you might hear about. Stick to what works, the monohydrate. Now let's move on to new information, crucial practical knowledge that distinguishes this material from standard advice and which is an absolute hit among those who already use creatine. And now listen carefully and remember this fact. Creatine absorption is dependent on sodium. Yes, on salt. Creatine must be transported into muscle cells by a specific protein called SLC6A8. This transporter is activated precisely by sodium. What is the practical conclusion from this information? It is that when you combine creatine with a small pinch of salt or an electrolyte drink, your muscles can absorb 40 to 50% more creatine. Why is this so important? Because if sodium levels are low, creatine does not effectively enter the cells. Instead, it lingers in the extracellular space, in the extracellular fluid. This is when, dear viewer, you may feel bloating, puffiness, or water retention. The solution to the problem of excessive water accumulation in the body is simply to add a pinch of salt to your creatine. Now let's talk about the physical, tangible benefits. We will focus on data related to the reduction of sarcopenia and improved metabolism. First, building lean muscle mass. Large reviews of studies consistently show that individuals taking creatine in combination with resistance training gain an average of about 1 kilogram more lean muscle mass. This is the desired strong muscle that supports joints and protects bones. Age is no barrier here. Active seniors aged 81 and 92 who regularly take creatine and train confirm increases in strength and size. Yes, finally, believe that muscle development is possible at any age. Second, reducing body fat. Creatine is not a weight loss supplement in the traditional sense, but it helps you lose fat. How? Primarily by increasing your resting metabolic rate. More muscle mass means you burn more calories, even while sitting and resting. Additionally, its anti-inflammatory action may make it easier for fat cells to efficiently release and burn energy. In studies, individuals taking creatine lost an average of about 0.5 kilogram more fat than the control group. Third, a noticeable and measurable increase in strength, especially in the lower body. A meta-analysis from the end of 2023, covering over 20 different studies, showed that people taking creatine lifted an average of about 4.5 kilograms more in upper body exercises. But it is hard to believe that this figure was about 11 kilograms more in lower body exercises. Think about what this means for you. Stronger lower body means stronger legs, and this in turn means greater stability, a better ability to get up from a chair or bed, and a lower risk of tripping and falling. It means the ability to climb stairs and step over curbs. It means independently using public transport or enjoying cycling for many more years. Do you like walking your dog? Do you like cycling or gardening? Creatine is the key to long-term mobility and self-reliance. But creatine is not only fuel for the muscles, it is also premium fuel for the brain. Your brain is an incredibly energy-intensive organ, consuming up to 20% of the total body energy even if you are not using it very intensely or when you are sleeping. Like muscles, the brain stores creatine to rapidly regenerate ATP, energy. It needs it especially when you need to focus intensely, process complex information, or make decisions quickly. A study from 2022 showed that just 5 grams of creatine daily significantly improved memory, especially in individuals over 65 years of age. This is an effect that seniors who have tried creatine supplementation happily report. They say that the brain fog has significantly decreased, concentration and reaction speed have improved, and low energy and sluggishness have disappeared. Now we will go deeper. I will reveal to you that creatine increases the amount of oxygen delivered to brain cells and helps reduce oxidative stress, one of the main drivers of cognitive decline. With age, decision fatigue also appears, meaning the brain needs more time to regenerate and rest after making each decision. If it lacks creatine, it remains in a state of permanent energy exhaustion, and you are in a state of numbness. Making even a simple decision, like what to eat for breakfast or which shirt to wear, becomes an achievement for the tired brain, comparable to climbing 4 flights of stairs without stopping. And here, the role of creatine is crucial. It provides fast, safe, and high-quality energy, thanks to which you will stop having problems with simple daily activities. You will stop forgetting to take your keys or shopping bag. One glance out the window will allow you to choose the appropriate outfit for a walk in a split second, and your beloved grandchildren will be happy that their grandparents are paying attention to them and actively participating in family life. Or perhaps, thanks to high brain efficiency, you will decide to attend University of the Third Age classes instead of watching reruns of old TV series. Moreover, depressive and anxious states can also be a derivative of the metabolic state of the brain. When energy supply is disrupted, the brain tires, and this struggle can manifest as a low mood and difficulty concentrating. When creatine levels are low in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for emotional regulation and decision-making, people are more susceptible to symptoms of depression. This suggests that for some people, improving the metabolic health of the brain through creatine can bring real relief, giving the brain the fuel it needs to bounce back from stress faster and function at an optimal level. Creatine's reach extends beyond muscles in the brain. Let's briefly discuss 2 key benefits for seniors. First, bone resistance to fractures. Newer studies have shown that creatine affects bone remodeling, especially in the femur. It doesn't necessarily make the bones denser, but it makes them more resistant to fractures. It allows the bones to react more intelligently to mechanical loads, building strength in a functional way. In old age, fractures, especially a hip fracture, are one of the main causes of disability. If creatine can make your bones more resilient and withstand a fall, that is a benefit that cannot be overstated. Second, immune system support. Your immune cells, such as neutrophils, also need ATP to function. Preliminary research has shown that creatine supplementation increases ATP production in these cells, making them more effective at fighting bacteria. Furthermore, creatine contributes to the reduction of pro-inflammatory mediators throughout the body, meaning the immune system is not only stronger, but also more balanced. The biggest problem with creatine is the myths that stop people from using it. We must categorically refute them to build trust in the science. Myth number 1 is balding and hair loss. This whole myth stems from one small, ambiguous study. Many larger, more rigorous analyses that followed it found absolutely no link between creatine and male pattern baldness. You can dismiss this fear. Myth number 2 is kidney and liver damage. Creatine increases creatinine levels in the blood, a normal byproduct of creatine metabolism. Doctors use creatinine to assess kidney function, hence the misunderstanding. However, this increase is a completely normal response to supplementation and does not indicate kidney damage in healthy individuals. Hundreds of studies confirm the safety of creatine. If you have a diagnosed kidney disease, you should consult a doctor. But for the vast majority of people, creatine is completely safe. The same applies to the liver. There is no evidence of damage or dysfunction at reasonable doses. Myth number 3 is cramps and dehydration. Creatine draws water into muscle cells. If you don't drink enough water, or if your sodium levels are low, this can disrupt fluid balance. The solution, as we have already discussed, is simple and effective. Drink plenty of water throughout the day and take creatine with a pinch of salt or a good electrolyte drink. These problems almost always disappear. Here is a clear, consistent, and practical action plan for incorporating creatine into your routine, especially if you are over 60. First, choose the right form of creatine for you. The basic, best researched, and cheapest is creatine monohydrate. If for some reason you cannot take it, try one of the other forms, for example, creatine malate, creatine hydrochloride, buffered creatine, or creatine ethyl ester. There are also preparations combining 2 or 3 forms of creatine. Second, go for the right amount of creatine. For general health and muscle maintenance, take 5 to 7 grams daily. This is a solid, safe baseline. However, to maximize benefits for the brain or for very active seniors with significant muscle loss, consider a dose in the range of 10 to 15 grams daily, naturally after consulting a specialist. Third, ensure proper creatine absorption. Take creatine with a small pinch of salt or an electrolyte supplement. This will help with transport into the cells and minimize the risk of bloating. Fourth, be persistent and consistent with creatine supplementation. Take it every day. There is no need to take breaks. Creatine works by building consistent stores. Remember that its effect on the muscles and brain is cumulative. We have reached the end. Creatine is a powerful, evidence-based tool that can help you stay strong, sharp, and active for decades to come. Its benefits are not just about increased strength, they are primarily an investment in your independence and quality of life. Don't put this off. Take the first step. Get a creatine supplement. Start with 5 to 7 grams daily. Take it with a pinch of salt. Be consistent. Give yourself a few weeks and pay attention to the subtle but profound changes. How you feel after getting up, how your strength changes, your balance, how your mind becomes sharper and more resilient. I think you will be surprised. Thank you for caring so much about your health to seek real information. Question myths and take action. You are not just watching a video, you are investing in yourself, and that is the most important investment you can make. And now the most important question. Have you ever experienced support for your brain and muscles using creatine? Let us know in the comments. We are interested in your personal effects as well as any unexpected positive or negative outcomes you have observed. Let's create a substantive knowledge base together. If this material has provided you with clarity and a practical plan, give us a thumbs up and share it with someone you wish longevity. See you in the next material. Be strong, stay curious, and move forward.